Honda's $15.7 billion collapse, the EV disaster nobody wanted to admit was coming. Let me be straight with you right now. This is not just another corporate stumble. This is not a tough quarter or a strategic pivot dressed up in boardroom language. What Honda just experienced is one of the most catastrophic self-inflicted wounds in modern automotive history. And the most disturbing part? Every single warning sign was visible years before anyone pulled the trigger. I have spent years breaking down automotive business models, and I am telling you, the Honda Zero story is not primarily about electric vehicles. It is about what happens when an engineering-first company convinces itself that ambition is the same thing as a business plan. Let's go through this properly, because there are details buried in this story that most coverage completely missed. And those details are where the real lessons live. The CES moment nobody should have taken at face value. January 2025. Las Vegas. Honda walks onto the CES stage and presents what looked, on paper, like a genuine threat to Tesla's dominance. The Honda Zero Saloon and Zero SUV were breathtaking on spec sheets. 800-volt charging architecture, over 300 miles of EPA-rated range, DC fast charging from 15 to 80% in somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, a dual-motor setup producing up to 482 horsepower, and then there was the Asimo operating system, named after Honda's iconic robot, built on a custom 3-nanometer chip co-developed with Renesas, promising 2,000 TOPS of AI compute performance. Level 3 autonomous driving capability. The Saloon stood under 1.4 meters tall, roughly 4 centimeters lower than a Tesla Model 3. Honda CEO Toshihiro Mibe had been calling this the anti-Tesla approach. Thin, light, wise. Those were his actual words. The crowd went wild. The automotive press produced glowing headlines for weeks. But here is what almost nobody was asking in that moment. Where were the production contracts? Where were the supplier agreements for that 3-nanometer chip at scale? Where was the confirmed pricing that would make a 482 horsepower electric saloon financially viable for everyday buyers? The answer, it turns out, was nowhere. Because Honda was not unveiling a product, Honda was unveiling a vision. And those are two very different things. Especially when you have already committed tens of billions of dollars, betting one will automatically become the other. The number that should have stopped everything here is the figure that deserves far more attention than it received. In April 2022, Honda committed 5 trillion yen, approximately $40 billion, to electrification over 10 years. Then in May 2024, Mibe doubled that commitment to 10 trillion yen, $64 billion through fiscal 2031, 7 Zero Series models globally by 2030, 2 million EVs sold annually, 100% electric and fuel cell vehicles by 2040. Think about what that doubling represents. Not confidence, not market data, not customer demand signals. That doubling happened while Ford's EV division was already hemorrhaging cash at a rate that should have sent shockwaves through every executive suite in the industry. And here is the detail almost every outlet glossed over. Honda made that doubling commitment in May 2024, the same period when Ford had already publicly confirmed losing approximately 132,000 on every single electric vehicle it sold in Q1 of that year. That is not a typo. $132,000 per vehicle on 10,000 deliveries. Ford CEO Jim Farley said publicly that revenue was dropping faster than they could pull out costs. Honda doubled down anyway. That is not bold leadership. That is willful blindness dressed up as conviction. The infrastructure trap nobody talks about enough. This is where Honda's situation gets genuinely heartbreaking from an engineering perspective, because the company was not just spending money on concepts. They were pouring concrete. a $4.4 billion battery joint venture with LG Energy Solution in Jeffersonville, Ohio. 40 gigawatt-hours of annual capacity. 2,200 jobs promised to a community. Over $1 billion retooling the Marysville and East Liberty assembly plants, historic facilities, plus the Anna engine plant, reconfigured to handle EV production alongside internal combustion vehicles. Combined capacity of 220,000 vehicles annually. Then there was the Canadian commitment, a $15 billion Canadian EV value chain in Alliston, Ontario, targeting 240,000 EVs annually by 2028, with approximately $5 billion in combined government subsidies already factored into the plan. And quietly, in January 2025, the same month as the triumphant CES presentation, Honda began operations on a 43 billion yen, all-solid-state battery pilot line in Sakura City, Tochigi Prefecture. Honda's R&D president called it a game-changer for the EV era. All of that infrastructure, all of those community promises, all of those government subsidy arrangements, built on a market assumption that was already crumbling before the first shovel broke ground. The Alliston postponement alone, pushed back approximately 2 years in May 2025, represents a betrayal, not just of balance sheet projections, but of an entire Canadian manufacturing community that had structured local economic planning around Honda's timeline. What the industry numbers were actually screaming. Let me give you the full picture of the EV industry's financial reality during the period Honda was still publicly committed to its Zero Series. Ford's Model E division lost $5.07 billion in 2024 alone, and guided another $5 to $5.5 billion in losses for 2025. GM's Mary Barra celebrated becoming variable profit positive on EVs in Q4 2024. But what that phrase actually means is that they stopped losing money on parts and labor per vehicle. It does not touch the billions already spent on factories and tooling. BNP Paribas analysts estimated GM still lost roughly $2.5 billion on approximately 189,000 EVs that year. Rivian lost $38,784 per vehicle in Q1 2024. Lucid, and this number is almost incomprehensible, lost $341,604 per vehicle in Q3 2024. Stellantis booked $22.3 billion in net losses in 2025, with over $25 billion in EV-related charges. Their CEO described results as reflecting the cost of overestimating the pace of the energy transition. The Jeep Wagoneer S sold just 175 units in Q1 2026, a 93% year-over-year collapse. Volkswagen killed the American-built ID.4 in April 2026, with VW's brand CEO calling both the ID.3 and ID.4 not true Volkswagens. Every single major player that went heavy into EVs was burning cash at industrial scale. And Honda was planning to enter this market without any long-range EV production experience, competing against companies that had already spent years optimizing their losses down from catastrophic to merely terrible. The 30-year pattern everyone chose to forget. This is the part that genuinely baffles me as an automotive analyst. Honda's EV history is not ambiguous. It is a clear, consistent 3-decade pattern of building compliance vehicles, limiting availability, and quietly destroying them. The Honda EV Plus in 1997, lease only, 81-mile range, approximately 325 total units, most of them reclaimed and crushed. The Honda Fit EV in 2013, deliberately capped at exactly 1,100 units, 82-mile range, lease only in 7 states. The Honda Clarity Electric in 2017, 89 miles of range, lease only in California and Oregon. The Honda E, launched in 2020 with genuine design ambition, sold roughly 1,800 units in Japan and around 10,000 in Europe before production ended in January 2024. Each of these vehicles was built to satisfy regulators, not customers, and the market knew it. customers knew it. The enthusiasm just was never there because Honda never committed the distribution, the pricing strategy, or the after-sales infrastructure to make any of these cars a real consumer proposition. Even the Honda Prologue, their best-selling EV with over 33,000 units in 2024, was not really a Honda product. It was a GM Ultium platform vehicle built at a GM plant in Mexico. Honda essentially rebadged a competitor's architecture and called it their electric future. When the federal tax credit expired, Prologue sales fell 65% year-over-year in Q1 2026, dropping to just 3,319 units. Honda had to slash prices by $7,500 across the entire lineup just to move existing inventory. The Acura ZDX, also on the GM platform, ended production in September 2025 after just 18 months. And the $5 billion Honda-GM Affordable EV partnership, announced in April 2022, was quietly canceled in October 2023. Meeb told Bloomberg they decided it would be difficult as a business. 30 years, not a single self-developed long-range EV for sale to a customer. That is not bad luck. That is institutional avoidance masquerading as strategic patience. The policy collapse that made everything irreversible. The market was already struggling. Then the regulatory foundation crumbled all at once. The $7,500 federal EV tax credit expired on September 30th, 2025. Buyers rushed in before the deadline, pushing Q3 2025 to a record 438,487 EV sales and 10.5% market share. Then, Q4 collapsed to 5.8% market share. Inventory ballooned to 149 days by November 2025, the highest since February 2024. Q1 2026 saw EV sales fall 27% year-over-year. Trump's 25% Section 232 tariff on imported vehicles hit in April 2025, compressing margins across the industry. And on June 12, 2025, the revocation of California's Advanced Clean Cars 2 waiver eliminated the EV sales mandates that had been compelling manufacturers to build these vehicles in the first place. The business case that Honda had built, and that Carl Brauer, executive analyst at IC Cars, explicitly identified as regulatory compliance rather than genuine consumer demand, had its entire foundation legally dismantled within a single calendar year. March 12, 2026, the day Honda admitted it. The announcement landed with the weight of everything that had been building for years. Zero SUV, canceled. Zero Saloon, canceled. Acura RSX, canceled. Not one of these vehicles would ever reach a paying customer. Restructuring charges of up to 2.5 trillion yen, approximately $15.7 billion. Honda revised its fiscal 2026 operating profit forecast from a positive 550 billion yen to a projected loss of between 270 and 570 billion yen. Their first automotive operating loss since 1957. 69 years of profitability ended. Mibe and executive Noria Kaihara forfeited 30% of their compensation for 3 months. Other executives surrendered 20%. These are meaningful symbolic gestures. But gestures do not rebuild $15.7 billion. Honda's official statement specifically blamed the abolition of tax incentives, the easing of emissions regulations, and the imposition of import tariffs. What they did not say, but what the numbers say for them, is that their business case was never built on customers. It was built on policy, and policy changed. 2 weeks after the cancellation, Sony Honda Mobility canceled the Afeela, one and a second unannounced model. By April 21, 2026, the entire joint venture announced it would scale down operations and return employees to their parent companies. One of the most talked about automotive technology partnerships of the decade dissolved. Honda stock dropped approximately 8% in pre-market trading on announcement day, and frankly, given the full scope of what was revealed, that reaction might have been restrained. What comes next, and why you should keep watching? As of today, Honda's only surviving Zero Series product is the Zero Alpha, a smaller SUV targeting Japan and India in 2027. Maib himself acknowledged it is probably too small for the US market. A full strategy reset is expected in May 2026. Whatever Honda announces, it will be the most consequential strategic declaration the company has made in decades, because they cannot afford another expensive pivot. The balance sheet will not survive it. Here is my read as someone who tracks these numbers obsessively. Honda's hybrid pivot is actually their strongest play right now. They have genuine competency there. The CR-V hybrid, the Accord hybrid, the Pilot. These are vehicles customers actively seek out. The announcement of 13 next-generation hybrid models launching from 2027 and a target of 2.2 million hybrids out of 3.6 million total sales by 2030 is a strategy built on something Honda actually knows how to execute. But the $15.7 billion question, the one that should keep automotive investors awake, is whether the Ohio battery joint venture with LG Energy Solution has a viable future. What happens to the Alliston, Ontario commitments and those government subsidy arrangements, and whether Honda's all-solid-state battery program in Tochigi Prefecture can eventually become the foundation of a second attempt at EV leadership sometime in the 2030s. The lesson that Detroit and Tokyo are still refusing to learn. Mark Hogan at Inside EVs wrote, what I consider the most accurate single sentence about this entire episode. Honda was supposed to prove the doubters wrong, then canceled the Zero Series and proved them right. He called Honda the only major automaker in the current market to have never built its own long-range EV, and described their signature move in the EV era as tactical retreat. That is harsh. It is also accurate. The broader lesson? The one that applies to every automaker, every government EV mandate, and every infrastructure investment contingent on policy continuity, is this. When your entire business case depends on regulatory mandates and tax credits rather than customers genuinely wanting to own the product, a single election cycle is all the exposure you have. Honda did not fail because EVs are inherently impossible. Honda failed because they built a house on a regulatory foundation rather than a demand foundation, spent 30 years never developing the muscle memory to compete in this space, doubled their commitment at precisely the moment industry-wide losses should have prompted serious recalibration, and then watched a policy environment shift strip away the only rationale for the investment. The EV market did not destroy Honda. Honda's own decision-making destroyed Honda. And if you think this is an isolated case, if you believe the other automakers in similar positions have somehow solved the demand problem that Honda could not, I genuinely encourage you to watch what happens next. Because Honda is not the last name on this list, follow this channel now. The May 2026 strategy reset is coming, and I will have the numbers broken down before anyone else does. This story has at minimum 2 more chapters left, and you do not want to miss what comes next.